We all took a picture, and then we watched this movie about soccer.
She loves soccer.
Oh, so like soccer is on Friday, movies on Friday. It's not in there like for your grade. It's just what you want. So, I'll make you guys all
On the table.
I like the little actors. The other things not in there don't have it. What do you want to say? Grace Larson. Yeah, I know. What? English is your second language.
Still don't even know.
So you can speak German fluently. No.
I could totally be smart enough.
All right. Good morning. I need everyone's eyes and ears up on the screen, please. It's a fun day, but we have a lot to do today, right? We have a lot to accomplish. So, here's the agenda today. The objective is students will identify the historical, cultural, social, and geographical context of the setting, writing, and publication of the novel To Kill a Mockingbird. As you entered class today, you should have grabbed a copy of the worksheet and sat in your assigned seat. If you didn't already, the worksheet is on the desk over by the door. And I know that's new for us, I think, this year. Make sure we're reading the screen as we come in, all right? All right, let's come back, please. So the agenda is pretty straightforward then. We're going to be working through the picturing of the past worksheet that you just received. Your exit task today is a lot of fun. You're going to turn in this picturing of the past worksheet. Then you're also, thank you for the enthusiasm, the passion, you're also going to hang up your exit slip, and I will explain to you what that is in a little bit. Your only homework today is that you need to be reminded that your independent reading is due 2 weeks from yesterday. So let's start reading even at home, all right? So we're going to go ahead and hit the lights here. Thank you so much. All right. Let's review for a moment. Okay, I need your attention, please. Ladies and gentlemen. So, let's review a little bit. This new unit that we're on is Coming of Age in Changing Times. And we walked through this yesterday with Mrs. Delaney. Would someone read this for the class, please? Yes, go ahead.
Your assignment will be to research the historical, cultural, social, and or geographical context of the novel To Kill a Mockingbird and investigate how individuals, organizations, and events contributed to change in the United States during the Civil Rights Movement. You will work collaboratively to create an oral presentation of your findings with multimedia support and guiding questions for your audience.
So remember, over the next 3 weeks, we're going to be working on that background information that's necessary for us to understand what's going on in To Kill a Mockingbird. Are there any questions about this group project?
So when you say guiding questions, sorry.
Uh-huh.
Do you mean that we're going to ask questions to the audience after the presentation?
Mrs. Delaney, when we say guided questions, are we talking about them asking these questions as a group or presenting them to the class?
No, each group will create 3 to 5 questions that the audience members will answer during the course of your presentation.
Okay. Perfect. Does that answer your question? Thank you. Thank you so much. Anything else before we move on? All right. So today, you should have received this worksheet, and I want to make sure that we walk through it real quick. So this is what it looks like. You're gonna have there's three boxes there where I'm gonna show you 6 different photos. And I'm gonna walk you through this each time, but I wanna make sure you understand, when I say observations, we're talking about just what you see. What kind of details do you see in those images, all right? I want you to describe what you see. What stands out to you? And then later on, we're actually gonna reflect and also ask questions of that photo. So for instance, how does this photo make me feel, right? How does this go against or support, what I believe or what I experience? The questions that I may have: why is this person seem to be doing this? Or what's going on behind the scenes? Or what led up to this photo being taken? All right? I want you to be able to do that today. So that's what we're going to work on as individuals and as a class. So, here is your first photo. And what I'd like you to do is take 2 minutes and work only on the observations that you have about this picture. 2 minutes. There should be no talking. This is individual work. I appreciate those of you who are putting your pencils down, letting you know that you're done, and then also not talking to your neighbor, just so you're not distracting those around you. I do appreciate that very much. Okay, so now what I'd like you to do, since some of you seem to be wrapping things up, is I would like you in a moment to talk around your table and share your observations. I'm going to ask that number 1 start, and we go all the way around to number 4. Okay? If you are at a table by yourself, you can join up with someone else. So Darius and Caitlin, and then I think that's about it. So let's go ahead and start that in the next 2 minutes. We'll start with number 1. All right?
I guess just for example, my integrated school. You can tell that she is covered, and the other person on the right never really staring at the conversation. And I feel like it wasn't me. So, I thought that might have been maybe one of the first there to go to a white school bathroom. I was like, really thankful that I they're just staring at me. Why are we talking to the person?
Black girl. And black and white photo. And they're all staring at me.
It looks like they're about to come to full time.
Never mind. You need to be fine.
All right, if I can have your attention, please. Remember, the more I have to ask you to refocus, the less we're going to accomplish today. All right? So again, I'm going to ask for your attention. I'm not going to move forward until I have everyone's attention. So, what I'd like you to do now is individually, not as a table, but by yourself, I want you now to write down your reflections and your questions. What kind of feelings or thoughts are prompted by this picture? What kind of questions do you have about the picture? So go ahead and write those things down, please. This is individual work. There should be no talking. Darius?
Dad. Say,
Would anyone like to raise their hand and share a reflection or question that they might have in regards to this picture? Thomas?
I mean, it could be racially aggravating to some people. Could be.
Okay.
You never know.
And what makes you think that something is going on here racial?
Because there's a bunch of white people and one black kid.
Okay. Okay. All right. Good observation. Listen, please. Yes, so I saw a hand raised somewhere over here, I thought. Yes, you know. Doc?
It doesn't seem like bad or anything to me, because like, it seems like they're in an argument or anything. I mean, there might be like, the situation might be bad or racist, but like, just at first glance, it looks doesn't say much.
Okay, so what I hear you say is, there could be, listen please, what I hear you say is there might be tension in the room, but not necessarily anything about the kids themselves and the situation they're in. So you're here, what I hear you say? Okay, Charlie.
I respectfully disagree with that because I don't think you would have a bunch of white people and one black girl.
Okay.
I think they're doing it on purpose to bring out like the idea of it all.
Okay. Okay, so to create it actually, okay?
Yeah.
Going back real quick, and then I don't want to get too caught up here, but yeah.
I know what you mean,
Uh-huh.
but what I was just saying is that I think that might be the situation.
Yeah.
But at first glance, when you're looking at the picture, it doesn't seem like it.
Okay.
With no background knowledge.
Understand, okay. So we're gonna move on for the sake of time. For the sake of time. Great, hey, listen please. There's great conversation, great discussion, all right? This is all about, there's not a right or wrong answer today. All we're doing, this is very objective. This is very subjective in that we're just sharing our thoughts, our feelings, our observations. We're not really going for the right answer as much as we're just trying to think through the setting of the book we're going to read eventually, okay? So this is the second one. I would like you to write down any observations you have. Take 2 minutes. Any observations you have about this image? Darius, you have your hand raised? No. Oh, I apologize. All right, I'd like to take a couple of minutes and start with number 4 now. And I'd like everyone around your table to share your observations on image 2, please.
Oh, is that the?
Like one's white, one's like a duck.
One, like,
Hey, focus, please.
just put out to the side just to be like,
Yeah.
Look on the back.
here you go, here's your number.
I said, also the door, like this, and use this halfway. And again, it also looks like and the big sign is correct. Not anticipation, always have to increase. Colored white,
You know, like, a lot, on the bottom, and the jeans were,
All right, let's take a couple of minutes and now individually write down your questions and your reflection, please. Individually. What are some things that you wonder about the background of this picture? What led up to this picture? What feelings does it spark? I appreciate those who shared earlier. Is there anyone else who would like to share an observation or question they may have? Yes.
On like the right side or whatever, the door is a lot bigger than
The door is a lot larger. Why do you think that is?
well, I don't know, they look like people like other things.
Yeah, so there definitely is privilege here. Charlie, you got a thought or question?
Along with the door side,
1 second. When someone's speaking, everyone else is listening, please.
along the door sides, the walls kind of like,
Okay. Okay. Are you speaking of this right here?
just like the whole back, like the where.
Oh, okay. Okay. So it just looks nicer, maybe more appealing.
Well, I just mean like in general, maybe they're trying to point out that white, like the color.
Okay, absolutely. Someone in the first period actually thought these were maybe events that were posted, like posters and things, and so this door seemed to have more events or more things for people to do or be aware of, more information, I guess. Do you have a thought or question?
We spent so much extra money this summer, but because spent that money, that extra money to improve things such as agriculture, industrial,
Very good thought. So the resources were spent in ways to separate rather than improve, right? The situation for so many. Great thoughts. Thank you. It's your third image. Again, I'd like you to take a couple of minutes, 2 minutes by yourself, and write down any observations you have about this picture. This is individual work. 2 minutes or so. All right, based on a lot of your work, it looks like most are done and even working ahead. So let's just take a moment on your tables. Start with number fours again, and share your thoughts about this photo. Your observations.
I said it's like sitting out and like the police are there, all the like people seem like
in the bar because they felt like they were so they went to the bar. They demanded food people.
What else do you guys see?
I said the other men are protesting it the way
What's that? Everything active?
Looks like they're about to get picked up. Yeah, and probably
Okay, so you think it's more being arrested.
Land and go.
Okay, which is quite the opposite. But it's something that's for there turned out to be a slave.
Is this the first one to mark out percentage?
All right. All right, if I could have your attention, please. Some great conversation. Would someone like to, actually, I'm going to let you go back to your worksheet, and I'm going to ask that you write again, phones away, and you're going to write down some thoughts and questions. So reflect on the picture and write any questions that you may have about the picture. All right. Anyone would like to share a thought or a question, a reflection or a question? Raise your hand, please. Charlie?
It looks like they're being showcased almost in the expressions on all the white people's faces is like angry, and I think the black people could possibly be making a statement,
Okay.
rioting or protesting.
Protesting, okay. So they're actually making a statement. Yes.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I thought it was kind of cool because it looks like they're protesting for equal rights in a white cafe.
Oh, okay. So you're saying this is basically a sit-in in a white cafe. Very good observation, Thomas.
I mean, I thought it was kind of confusing because we don't know the full story here.
If someone's talking, everyone else is listening. Go ahead, Thomas.
I
Sorry.
mean, they could be getting arrested because I do see some police.
Interesting.
And there's a guy taking a picture behind them, so, could be something.
Interesting. So the table over here, I don't know what color that is, over here, Baldwin, you guys had a great observation because you looked at the police and you said they're either doing one or two things. Can you share that real quick?
They're either protecting them or like escorting, like giving them trouble, arresting them.
Yeah, so they're either protecting or they're arresting. One more observation before we move on, just for the sake of time. Anna, yes?
Well, like, going into what Mia said, like, it's not like, they're kind of like, just like talking to them, like, if they're there, like, boycotting, like, protesting something.
Yep.
They, like, don't wanna, like, touch them, like, it kinda looks like they're just, like, trying to talk their way out of it, like.
Okay, so there's a lot of tension here, I hear it from many of you, okay? Next one, I'd like you again, take 2 minutes, please, and write down your observations for this picture. This is individual work. This is individual work. 2 minutes. No talking, please. Write down your observations. All right, let's take a couple minutes again to share your thoughts, your observations with your table. Make sure that everyone has an opportunity to share over the next 2 minutes, okay?
It's a black man.
Yeah.
But he's like relaxing, like he's thinking. Like we kind of like. Like he's like thinking.
I was just write down the question. I was just curious why again it's Is he smoking?
Is he
smoking?
Yeah.
No, because he only has one finger pointed up to his mouth.
But I think
But there's like a little white circle in front of his mouth.
he's reflecting.
He's like blowing out his drooling.
But I think he's trying to hide the fact that he's smoking.
Good thoughts.
If he's in jail, how do you smoke?
Good thoughts.
And he only has a finger pointed up to his mouth. He's like one step below. It looks like he's a smoker, but that wouldn't make sense because he's wearing a different mouth.
Yeah, I think just not.
Yeah, I thought he kind of looked more. I don't know. That's one of my questions. Because he had his fingerprints off, like he's maybe white or something.
I kind of thought that he was kind of like reflecting just how he was sitting there.
Reflecting, okay.
Yeah, like kind of thinking about stuff.
Good thoughts, man. All right, I'd like everyone to take a couple of minutes and now write down any reflection that you might have, any questions that you might have about this picture. Take some time, please. Good thoughts. All right, we're going to move on to the next picture. If, with a show of hands, show me how much time you think you need, how many minutes. See a lot of 2? Okay, I'm going to give you about a minute.
This picture?
Yes. Okay, I'll give you a minute. Hey, please don't be talking because that distracts those who are working still. Please do not be talking. All right, looks like everyone's wrapped up here. Here's the fifth image. Again, I want you to take 2 minutes and write down any observations you have. So you can begin with this picture right here. I see many of you moving on, so I'm gonna have you, before you share with your table, I'll let you do that in a few minutes. But I'd like you instead to keep on going and looking at or writing down your reflections and your questions. And I'll bring you back here in a moment. Your reflections and your questions.
Is it great?
Yes. All right, take a couple of minutes and share your observations, your reflections, your questions that you have about this fifth photograph.
Equal rights. I said it was the Hawaii march. Yeah, all of it, like, everything right side out. And there's white.
It was like white. That was one like, it was like a lady robe.
All the way on the right.
Yeah. I think I might have saw
I think she could have been next or something.
No, because people, just because they were white, they were treating blacks.
Yeah,
People watch, people who were
But it's like very beautiful.
yeah.
So I was saying like, it was my question because
Just like
why you would go up there and like, you know, it could have been something. Another white person, but it'll depend.
there's a white man in the back.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just in color.
and others, but I won't go ahead and read now.
Any other thoughts? That's a really good observation because those signs. So are you saying that this protest, if it is a protest, then there's nothing that's bad?
Yeah.
So no, that's a very good observation. Absolutely. Those are good thoughts.
The only thing I struggle with is the independent reading project, but I will finish that.
All right, if I can have your attention, please. I'll wait till everyone's done talking, please. Thank you. So the sixth and final slide, all right? I'd like you to look at this. 2 minutes. I'd like you to write down your observations. And for this one, I'm going to ask that you not work ahead. Don't go to questions and reflection quite yet. I want you to stick on observations, please. Take your time. What do you see about this? What do you notice in this picture? Please do not work ahead. Purple. Should be no talking. Right now, as an individual, you're looking at detail in the picture.
I don't know where they'll be at though. These schools for black people. Oh, I just
Okay, so I see a lot of you seem to be wrapping things up. So now you can talk about your observations with your table. So go ahead and take a moment to do that.
I said it looks like it kind of looks similar to the first picture, like it could be a school setting. But I've noticed there's a man in the back that looks really angry about there being a bully in there.
Looks like the bullies. Those kids don't let music on.
But I don't think they want to.
I feel
They
like
can't really hear anything. They're kind of in they don't want to play, but they also don't really want to.
I mean,
They're definitely really distant.
he looks really smart.
Yeah.
It actually looks like this. That black.
He's happy to be there. Because I think he does. And I feel like he's happy about it. Even though other lights
My mom was almost a demolition expert.
All right, so I'm going to ask you to stop the table conversation just for a moment, because now I want you to go back to your worksheet and write down your reflections and questions that you have about this sixth and final image. So take 2 minutes. Please do not talk to your neighbor. Finish the worksheet.
sticky notes. So good, it's 44.
There should be no talking. Look back over your observations, your reflections, if we still have time. Now what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to put a star next to the image that impacted you the most, that maybe you had the most questions about, or maybe it stirred up a little more emotion, feeling. Maybe it's something that you want to know more about. Put a star next to the number, the image that you would like to know more about, or the one that maybe you have more thoughts or questions or feelings about. I would like you to put a star next to that.
Well, what you put?
Okay, I did not ask you to just talk to your neighbor quite yet. So all eyes and ears up here, please. So now, which of these 6 images sticks in your mind the most? Now, you all chose one. So on your sticky note now, I would like you to answer this question. I'd like you to put the number of the picture that you that sticks out to you the most, and I'd like you to tell me why. Would anyone like to share the one that stuck out to them the most? Yes.
I did it for because I had a lot of questions. It looked like he was in jail, but he had like really nice clothes on, and he didn't look sad or mad. He was very curious about. I don't know. He was very curious, and I was about to go to jail. I wasn't curious.
Thank you for sharing that. In the back. Listen, please.
I thought the last one stuck to me the most, and I thought it kind of stuck to me the most because that looked like a stereotypical kind of high school from the 1900s. So it's like the picture that would come into your head if somebody said integrated school.
Okay, thank you. All right. Go ahead.
I picked number 4 too, because I don't know, I think he is in jail because I feel like he is in jail a lot. And it looks like he's
black.
Looks like he's
You know who he was?
Martin Luther King.
Yeah, Martin King Jr. Okay, thank you. Okay,
And,
listen, please.
and so I think he's thinking about something pretty important.
Yep.
And I want to know what it was.
Thank you for sharing that. Tess, last one, just for the sake of time. What was your thought?
I think it's number 5.
Okay, which one was that?
It was the one where they were like marching.
Okay.
all the time.
Okay.
And there was a white girl to the very far right. They were friends with both places, just fighting for equal rights.
Okay. So you saw someone of a different race asking for equal rights for all there. Okay. So here's what I'd like you to do. Here's your exit task as I mentioned earlier. I would like you to do 2 things. That post-it note that you have, I would like you to post it on the wall. So whichever picture you think impacted you the most, I want you to put it on there. And then I want you to turn this into the turn-in basket.
I literally spaced it out.
This one. So against the wall, whichever one you thought was the most impactful. And then turn that in. Thank you so much for all your effort today, your hard work. Jake, you don't have to.
Jake,
I got that.